Last week, fascist protesters at UC Berkeley broke windows, spray painted on walls, and pepper sprayed people, all in the name of preventing fascism. Wait a second. Fighting fascism with fascism? Oh, the tolerant left, you make me laugh. Milo Yiannopoulos, gay conservative Breitbart editor-at-large and apparent fascist, was supposed to speak at the Snowflake College at UC Berkeley on Wednesday, but instead had to flee the campus due to dangerous animals breaking and vandalizing anything they could fit their small little hands around. Aha! We won, the rioters must have exclaimed. Oh wait, no they didn't. The only thing they did was set their movement back 10 steps and increase Milo's popularity, and causing the pre-orders of his yet-to-be-released book Dangerous to skyrocket. Sorry, anti-fascists. It looks like you took the L on this one. I'm Hunter.
I'm Darian.
And this is the Hunter and Darian Show. Alright. So on the agenda today we have, obviously the riots that went down at the Milo event on last Wednesday. We have Trump's nominee of Neil Gorsuch for this new Supreme Court justice. And we have, Robert Reich. We talked about him a little bit.
Yep, anything and everything, of course, at the end, and the dank meme of the show right after that.
Awesome.
First thing I want to talk about just real briefly, unfortunately, very sadly, recently there was a shooting at a mosque in Quebec, Canada. Killed 6 people, including a child. Very tragic. So our hearts, I'm sure Hunter will agree, our hearts go out to the people,
Absolutely.
Those affected by that. One thing I did find kind of silly, I noticed, social media, there are people saying, oh, it was a Muslim. Oh, it was a white person. It did happen to be a white person, but I don't like this idea of like trying to push some agenda with it, because you had people, super extreme people on the right, shouting it had to have been a Muslim, people on the left shouting it had to have been a white person. It's like, a killer's a killer, it's bad. I really think we should leave it at that, personally.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. That you shouldn't try to push people beliefs of, oh, well, this is just going to prove my point that Muslims are terrorists. And hoping that a Muslim killed a bunch of their fellow Muslims, and then the left doing the same thing where, well, this is going to prove that Muslims aren't terrorists, so I hope it was a white guy that shot the place. It's just ridiculous, and this partisan bickering, so it's just, our hearts out go to the victims, and killing's bad no matter what color you are, so. All right. What do you want to talk about?
Trump nominating Gorsuch.
All right,
let's go.
Gorsuch. Here we go. So, Gorsuch is the person that Trump nominated this past week for the new Supreme Court justice. And he's a conservative. He is a conservative advocate for states' rights. He interprets the Constitution as written. Ted Cruz says, quote, Judge Gorsuch is a home run. And obviously Ted Cruz is a conservative, so you'd think he'd say that, something like along those lines. He was on the 10th Circuit of the Court of Appeals, and President Obama, former Vice President Joe Biden, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and John Kerry voted for him. So,
Yeah, that's interesting. Nancy Pelosi said that, what was it again?
If you breathe air, drink water, eat food, take medicine, or in any other way interact with the courts, this is a very bad decision.
But then you see President Obama, former Vice President Joe Biden, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and John Kerry voted him in. So, in his previous job. So honestly, I don't know. I think that's just her being a contrarian because it's an opposite of a party, which both sides are guilty of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Nancy Pelosi is still relevant actually today. I was surprised. You'd think like she's gonna get out of the picture sometime here pretty soon, but no, she's still running with her little bickering of the left. So there we go.
So then another thing we want to talk about. As many of you probably have heard, there were protests at University of California, Berkeley. So basically, conservative Breitbart editor-at-large Milo Yiannopoulos. Did I say that right?
Yiannopoulos, I'm pretty sure. It's
okay,
something along the lines. Long last name.
Basically, he's a conservative who many like to refer to as alt-right, which in our opinion he's not. But anyways, he often tours around, goes to different college campuses, and talks about different events. About his political opinions to people. So he went to UC Berkeley. For those of you who may know, a lot of people consider his speech to be hate speech. In their opinion, it offends them. He went over there and riots ensued. So we just want to show you this picture over here. So let's take a look. As you can see, they're lighting stuff on fire. I think that's a street light. They spray painted his name. Guys, I gotta say, using fascism to prevent fascism is ridiculous. I mean, these riots got so out of hand and violent. The event actually got canceled. People were throwing rocks, doing ridiculous stuff. Did you have anything you wanted to add on to that?
Well, it was just it was literally vandalism, and they're taking away
crazy.
They're literally using this. They're chanting about no fascist USA, no whatever what they were talking about. But they're oppressing his freedom of speech. They're literally fighting against the First Amendment.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like not only that, but these people are so ridiculous. I mean, they have literally given him exactly what he wants when you really think about it. I mean, he's he's getting infinitely more popular because of these college protesters going and being ridiculous and crazy and canceling events. It gives him fuel. He's able to attack the left very easily as a result of it. He recently wrote a book called Dangerous.
Well, it's not released yet, actually. I think it's still on pre-order right now.
Yeah, it's still on pre-order, but guess what? It's a New York Times bestseller already, and you can thank that to a large extent because of stuff like this. So, I mean, for those of you who don't like him, debate him respectfully. Don't. It's like,
or peacefully protest. Milo hates peaceful protest. He literally hates them. He wants you to be violent. That's his shtick.
And let's remember, most people did peacefully protest. Unfortunately, this minority gets very loud, but nonetheless, it's a pretty huge minority, and it's causing a lot of issues.
Yeah. So.
And then anything else you want to add to that?
Well, for you people that do think that Milo is a fascist, I have the Merriam-Webster definition here. So the definition is a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts a nation and often race above the individual, that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. And that's from Merriam-Webster dictionary. So I mean, pretty credible.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous. And just to make sure you guys know that we're not making this stuff up, I just want to show you guys a quick little video here for about 10 seconds. So we're just going to play this real quick.
I'm looking to just make a statement by being here, and I think the protesters are doing the same. And props to them for the ones who are doing it non-violently, but I think that's a very rare thing indeed.
Are you surprised?
Real peaceful.
Yeah, real tolerant. This lady was literally, she's wearing, as you can see, she's wearing it said it was a Make Make Bitcoin Great Again hat. She was likely a Trump supporter, and she was basically, she was literally praising the protesters who did so peacefully. Obviously, she was being peaceful, and then someone thinks it's okay to go and pepper spray her. Sorry, this is disgusting. There even, I've even talked to people who defended this, which I just couldn't believe. I thought that was absurd. And that's just one of, many examples. There are tons of violence going on. It was pretty bad. And then real quick, I wanted to read you guys a quote. So this is by former United States Secretary of Labor and UC Berkeley professor Robert Reich. That's how you say it, right?
Robert Reich.
Sorry, Robert Reich. Thank you. So I'm just going to read this real quick for you guys. It says, quote, "I was there for part of last night, and I know what I saw, and those people were not Berkeley students. Those people were outside agitators. I've never seen them before. There's rumors that they were actually right-wingers. They were a part of a kind of group that was organized and ready to create the kind of tumult and danger you saw that forced the police to cancel the event. So Donald Trump, when he says Berkeley doesn't respect free speech rights, that's a complete distortion of the truth." Okay, so first of all, how do you know these people weren't Berkeley students? I'm sure some of them were and some of them weren't, but they were literally dressed in black uniforms.
They're like
cowards.
ISIS.
Yeah,
They look like ISIS.
They're cowards. They hide their identity. Who are you to say they weren't? That they were definitely not Berkeley students. Also, rumors that they were actually right-wingers. Are you serious? You really think right-wingers would go and protest an event in an effort to shut down Milo Yiannopoulos while crying about hate speech and fascist USA and, spray painting, F Trump all over the place? It's ridiculous. It's just, oh God, this guy, I just can't believe that some of the stuff this guy says. Did you have anything else you want to weigh in on this or anything else?
Robert Reich is a former economic advisor for Bill Clinton. I disagree with his kind of liberal economic views. I was actually shown a documentary from him my senior year of high school, and I was politically illiterate at that time, so I was like, well, this guy seems pretty cool. But I'd say probably 5-6 minutes of research on Google shows that he's really, what he says sounds legitimate, but if you just, from the research I've done and from my political views, it's socialism, and I'm not a socialist. So he probably would have been Bernie's economic advisor, most likely, and Hillary's economic advisor if either of them would have won.
Yeah, so that's your daily dose of tolerance from the so-called anti-fascist left for you. And again, we know that it's not all of the left, but this is absurd. And then, so moving on, I suppose.
Yeah, moving on. We want to talk about everything and anything right now, because it's a big day actually.
Yeah, anything and everything, but
yeah. So you want to talk about the Super Bowl?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure many of you watched the Super Bowl. It was a pretty good game. I personally was rooting for the Falcons because they'd never won a Super Bowl before. Plus the Patriots. I mean, this was their 5th win, I believe, and they won last year. But I mean, it was a great game. It was very entertaining to watch. I mean, Patriots. Man, I mean, honestly, I don't think I've seen someone blow a lead that big since Hillary Clinton lost the election. Not gonna lie,
yeah,
that was pretty bad. I mean, what were they up by again? Was it like 23-0?
It was something around those.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Jesus. But and actually, a friend of mine was saying, I was saying, wow, they have a lead, they might actually win, and he said, nope, you can't do that. You can count on Tom Brady to come back, and boy, was he right. Wow, what a game. Also, another fun fact. That was the first time in NFL history that a Super Bowl game went overtime. Pretty cool.
I didn't know that. Honestly, I really thought that Super Bowls in the past had gone into overtime. I was talking to my roommate about that. I was like, I didn't think that was legit, but he said it was legit. So I was like, dang,
pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool. So what I did, I'm not a huge football guy, honestly. I play a lot of golf in my spare time. Titleist, collared shirt. Anyway, there was the Waste Management Phoenix Open today. And I went to that, which was really cool. I've been to this is my 5th year or so going there. But this is my first time going on the final round, which is on Sundays. And so I got to watch, I saw Phil Mickelson, if you know who that is, real famous golfer. I saw Bubba Watson, all those real famous guys. And I stayed all the way until the final group came in where Hideki Matsuyama was at 15 under. Or 16 under, something, 15 or 16 under, or was it 7? It was a lot under par, definitely much more than any average player would be. And he was tied with Webb Simpson, and they went into playoff. They played 18, tied, played 18 again, tied, then played 10, tied, and then played 17, and then that Hideki Matsuyama finally came up and beat Webb Simpson at that hole. So that was a sudden death. And so Hideki Matsuyama won, and this is actually his 2nd year in a row he won the Waste Management Phoenix Open last year. So I was actually kind of rooting for Webb just because I was like, come on. Not that I don't like Hideki Matsuyama, I really don't have any favorites, but I just wanted Webb to win it just since Hideki had won it last year. And I think that's a little bit ironic, actually, that the Patriots won the Super Bowl last year. Hideki won the Waste Management Phoenix Open last year, and they're at the same time. And then Patriots won again, and then Hideki won it again.
That's funny. Well, it sounds like you had fun. That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then, finally, we wanted to go to what we're going to now call the dank meme of the show. So, I thought this one was pretty funny. As you can see, you have SpongeBob and Patrick here in the burning city, and then SpongeBob is saying, "We did it, Patrick! We saved Cal! Yeah!"
Yeah, the SpongeBob laugh. Cue the SpongeBob.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny because, these people are, going around burning places and, rioting and destroying, smashing windows, and all in the name of countering hate speech and what they call violent speech, which they counter by actually being violent. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Somehow destroying, when you identify something as hate speech, it sets a really dangerous precedent because then you're allowing people to allow their own interpretation of what they believe hate speech is, and then if you think something's hate speech, then it's not free speech, right? And then now you're limiting free speech. Hate speech is free speech. That's as easy as it is. It sucks because sometimes you're going to hear stuff you disagree with and you're going to be triggered, but it's free speech. That's how this country is founded. It's just that's how it works in America. You can't just claim something as hate speech and then say that you can't say it because it offends me. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and this was one of the biggest triggerings we've seen recently, but I'm sure there'll be plenty more. So, thank you guys all for tuning in. I'm Darian.
I'm Hunter.
And thank you guys for tuning in on the Hunter and Darian Show. God bless America.